Not feeling very passive right now. I've been running around trying to get this to work. We had a thunderstorm pass through, and that, of course, threw my internet for a loop, and then nothing seemed to be working.
Oh my gosh. Well, you made it, and you're coming in loud and clear.
Good.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we should,
Hi.
I guess, Dave, do you want to retitle this show? And
yeah, I'm working on that right now.
We were about to
just wrap up whatever you were doing. Just squeeze me in whenever. I'm sorry about that. I was about ready to give up too.
No, yeah, we're so excited to have you on the show. We were just saying we can't wait to talk to you, and hopefully this would work out in the future. But now you're here, so we got our questions we're gonna ask you, and we're just gonna revert back to our original show idea.
Awesome.
So
great. Well, I'm real happy to be here too. So yeah.
Great. I see there's like a bit of a delay.
Oh, looks like we lost Phil now. So Angela, why don't you start by telling us where you're from and when you got started teaching online. I know Phil will be back in a sec.
Okay. Well, I live up in northern British Columbia, Canada. It's a fairly rural location, and I live here on a beautiful acreage with my husband and 3 children. And I'm a full-time artist, and usually that means starving artist, but I've been fortunate to find teaching online. I've been doing that for about 3 years, and I started out just doing some demonstration videos on YouTube, and that was even longer ago, probably about 2009, where I started just kind of fooling around with YouTube. And that kind of evolved and led into teaching online through Teachable.com.
Great. And what led you to choose Teachable versus, at that time, did you know about Udemy or Skillshare or these other platforms? And why are you sticking with Teachable? I mean, I'm using Teachable too, but I think a lot of people wonder, should they just be on Teachable? Should they be on both? What's your perspective?
Well, I have, I've kind of sampled, I've put my toe in the water of several different platforms. When I first started out, like I said, I had a YouTube channel and that was it. And the thing about YouTube is it's a really good way to kind of test out your content. And so for me, as a mom of 3 little kids, kind of fooling around with watercolor at home, and I was serious about my painting, and but yet not really seeing a way to actually take the next step and make it a profession. And so anyhow, I just had, I would have these light bulb moments with my painting where I just had to put it out there and share it with somebody. And so while the kids were napping, I'd quickly do a video, or while they were playing, because sometimes in some of my earlier videos, you can hear them screaming in the background. They still love screaming. And and it was interesting to see that I never expected that I would get the response that I did. People seemed to resonate. What I did seemed to resonate with people, even though the quality was poor, the angle was terrible. I wasn't very good at shooting videos back then. And when something does well on YouTube, I don't know, I think as people, when we have one success, we kind of want to build on that. And so it right away led to this idea of how can I capture these random people who show up on my YouTube channel and bring them into, maybe just connect with them more directly and have some targeted content that maybe is more structured. With YouTube, you just don't know if they're going to ever come back to your channel. And so to be able to have build a course just really appealed to me. And at that time, I tried out Skillshare, looked online, and they seemed to really appeal to kind of the artsy audience, people who are interested in that kind of field. So it was a good fit for me. And of course, starting with a company like Skillshare, you get the opportunity to kind of see how to build a course. They give a lot of guidance, and I followed their instructions and built my first course on them. And then after my first course went out and I actually saw that I could make a little money and connect with an audience, they changed their format somewhat. They changed their terms of service. They changed their marketing strategy. They changed their membership payment plan. And with all the changes, you really don't feel like you have a lot of control. You know, they get to decide how they're going to do things. And even if you're locked into an earlier contract, how they treat their members, their users, is going to, be completely up to them. And so that was when I started to think about owning my own content in a more complete way. And at that time, I think just one of my connections on Skillshare happened to mention Teachable. It was called Fedora back then, and I think they were only about 6 months old. And I went on their site and I looked at their terms of use, and there was like 3 sentences, it was like, you own the content, you set the price, we don't have any, you connect with your customers. And that was really appealing to me. And so I signed on with Teachable, and I really haven't looked back since. I had looked at some other ones, but that was just the one that appealed to me the most. At the time as well, they were a small company, so I got to feel like I had some input into how they built their company and built their brand, and connect directly with the owners and the people managing the site. So that was really cool, and it worked into them using me as an example. They still use me as an example in their marketing of just the regular everyday mom who built a career through teaching online. And while I think sometimes the way they promote my income sounds a little bit on the high side, a little bit overly, I had a really great month and they use that as their example, but actually they have been really supportive to me, and I think it's been just a great choice. I love having that say over how I build my business and how I own my content.